Hey, everybody, we're live now, right?
Actually, it says preparing the live stream. Okay, here
Mm.
we are. We're live.
Oh, we're live now. Whoa, and
We are.
my mic is on. Okay, there we go. It's off. My computer speaker was on. Hey, everybody, how is everyone doing? We are live today with John DeSouza, the
Yeah.
X-Man.
It's going to be a special episode for all of you guys at home because there is a ton to talk about.
So much to talk about. And let's see, I thought I would share my screen here. So for those, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows who John DeSouza is, but for those of you guys out there who don't, John DeSouza is an FBI special agent investigator for over 20 years and collector of the real life X Files. He was also an attorney and maintained a uh, top security clearance during his time in the US government. He worked for counterterrorism and violent crime cases. He is a best-selling author of The Extra Dimensionals and a leading investigator in the paranormal and exopolitics. And he has appeared on Above Majestic, Beyond Belief with George Norrie, and Mysteries of the Abandoned, as well as our own series of the Old World Order. So, John, thank you so much for being here with us. We're really excited about this.
Thanks so much, Ben. Am I up? Okay.
You seem to be good. The only thing is there's feedback coming from someone's computer. Like you can kind of hear us a little bit. So if somebody has YouTube running at the same time, you might want to shut that off. Otherwise, we're good. And John, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, I just checked mine and I don't see anything. I don't see it.
Oh, you know what? I think it must be your tab that's running. I had to turn mine off. Just I just muted the.
So John, close down your browsers. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Awesome.
Got it. I got it. Thanks.
Sorry,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Always.
It wouldn't be Edge of Wonder without a little technical difficulties. That's what I.
Yeah, but that one was on me though. Yes, I am.
No,
John
it's okay.
DeSouza. I am John DeSouza, the X-Man. Thank you so much, Ben, for that very kind introduction and for your forbearance and patience with my own technical faux pas that I have contributed to this event. Sorry about that. Yes, I am very glad to be here with you guys again, and it's just great to be here, guys. And I just didn't have in too much time to talk to you before, so let me ask you: are we going on YouTube, and are we going to have a lot of restrictions on what we can say? Because I had a lot of like dynamite stuff.
No. Okay, wait a minute. If you have, John, if you have dynamite stuff, then you're going to have to go ahead and tell us what that is now, because I can't hold it. I mean, okay, if you are going to say something sensitive, let's try to frame it in a way that's possible to air on YouTube. Let's put it that way. So,
we are on YouTube, but we could always, after we end this on YouTube, we can always continue this and put something extra on our .tv.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say use code words whenever you can, and then every once in a while we'll just say Biden 2020, and then everybody will be happy.
One of my fans on Twitter just was saying, I'd like to shout out Tessa from Twitter, from Drink with Tessa, who just said, "Oh, I'm very, very excited to watch this on Edge of Wonder with John DeSouza, at least until YouTube pulls it."
Yeah, well said.
So I was like, wow, that's like such a nice praise, but with a lot of
okay, so I'll give a couple of warnings for us, or maybe some requests of things that we be careful about when we're talking about particularly. Okay, so the first is any medicines or anything like that that's going to cause a problem with the algorithms,
right,
or because they have a lot of bots looking at those things, or any of those 3-letter agencies that control those things. right now with the virus situation going on, I would just be careful us talking about those things because that's where those bots are actually really looking. Ben, does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, yeah, yeah. We can
Well,
just
let me just give you
go
guys an
for it.
example real quick. I have I have what is really like something that people kind of know about, but it helps to articulate. It helps to articulate them, and it's I have it under the title "Plandemic Endgame." Plandemic Endgame. Okay, which
Sure.
is the theory that has a lot of evidence
Well,
behind it,
John, take us right into it. Tell us about
which
this.
is
Let's go.
okay, which is the theory that has a lot of evidence behind it that this entire virus situation, I don't have to name it, but the entire virus situation has been planned for a very long time by the globalists, which we have evidence of that because we have the statements of their head guy, Dr. Fauci. I think I can say his name. Uh,
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci, who said 3 years ago when he was the head of NIH, I believe, National Institutes of Health. He may have been the head of the other one at that time as well, CDC. He was also the head of the CDC at some point. And he made an announcement at a major conference that there is going to be a worldwide epidemic that is going to hit the United States, and it's going to hit during the time of President Trump, and he is going to be completely unprepared for it. And he made that, and that announcement was like 2 years ago. That was no, I'm sorry, that was at the beginning of Trump's presidency.
2017, right?
Yeah, that was just right around the time of the beginning of Trump's presidency, and it was clear evidence of a plan that was going on. That's why now people are referring to this entire incident as a plandemic that was put together, put forward by the globalists. There are elements in the Chinese communist government. There are elements there. There are elements at the CDC, at the WHO, the World Health Organization, which is owned by the globalists, by the cabal, basically. And it was a plan put together by them to put forward this virus as a way to destroy the economy, basically the world economy, and just bring it to its knees. And that's what's been going on. But what I want to really announce today, which I'm sure I'll see announced in other places soon after this, from special government insiders, as many other people have. And here's what it is. We are in the pandemic endgame. We are approaching two, and I have to say the phrase, false flags. I have to say the phrase. We are approaching two massive worldwide false flags.
Let's call those bogus banners for the sake
Bogus
of not
banners.
being pulled off of YT right now.
Okay, and the reason is because bogus banners are not just these FF operations are not just mass shootings and direct terrorist attacks against the American people. They can be other events as well, because that phrase, all it means is a party pretending that the United States government is doing something, but it's not really them. It's not the federal government doing this particular thing. It's actually another actor doing this terrible thing against the American people. That's all that phrase really means. Mm-hmm. And we are approaching two of them as part of the pandemic endgame. The first one is a mass staged act of it's really terrorism against the American people. And it is universal vaccinations against the American people. This will be an FF event because it is not being done by our federal government to our American people. It will be being done and accomplished by Bill Gates, globalist actor, by Bill Gates, by the CDC, the WHO, the NIH, all of these globalist actors will be putting their efforts together to put a final great act of universal mandatory vaccination with some very special vaccines that they have been saving for this moment. That's the first one. That's part of the pandemic endgame. And the second false flag that is being prepared is the taking over of the US election through the US presidential election through an act of universal mail-in voting. Mail-in voting, because you got to have social distancing. The pandemic's main, one of the pandemic's main points is people can't be around each other. You can't have Trump rallies anymore. You can't have any sort of rallies anymore. And you definitely can't have physical elections where people get together, stand in line, and physically vote with votes that will actually count, that will actually matter. No, they're going to stage this incredible event of universal mail-in voting, which they have beta tested for several years in other places, where it allows the assets, the Democrat assets of the globalists, to cheat in these elections, to make all these votes disappear and then reappear with other votes. And it allows them to cheat. And they have done this on statewide scales up to now. But this is where they are planning to do it on a nationwide scale, on a huge scale. And that's already being pushed forward in California. In California, they just tried to pass by the governor's fiat, the universal mail-in voting for this presidential election. And they're trying to make sure that all the other states follow suit. So
now, John,
those are the two events that are being planned as part of the pandemic endgame.
So, John, I have heard Bill Barr talk about the mail-in. I think it was between him and Trump. I've heard on different press conferences talking about this, basically saying that they weren't going to allow this because there's too much. I mean, obviously, there's too much room for fraud here, right? For fraudulent voting. So what's your take on that? Do you think that this is something that they'll actually accomplish, or do you think that this is just something that they're planning and trying to do that they're going to fall flat on their face with?
Well, it has to be stopped through the. I can tell you the plan. It has to be stopped through the Supreme Court and United States constitutional rights, and through the US Constitution, because what's been demonstrated up to now is that mail-in voting at the state levels have just been used for fraud on massive scales, time after time after time. And I could name elections that were all tossed to the Democrats using mail-in voting cheating that has gone on at large scales. So what it is now is that the president has the ability, and the attorney general, and they have the ability now to stop, on the basis of protecting United States constitutional rights of citizens, of their federal constitutional rights. They have the right to stop all mail-in voting, because it violates one vote, one citizen, one vote. It violates that, because the mail-in voting is just being used for fraud. It's being used to just stop the votes of certain voters. And so we need the president, and probably will do this, he and the attorney general, they need to put in get injunctions against California and any other states that are trying to do this universal mail-in voting, and to try to stop it completely. And they need to put in voter ID for voting across the board in order
it's really not too much to ask, is it?
Right, exactly. And they need to do that in order to protect our votes, to protect our votes' value, because otherwise it just doesn't. They're just not going to have any value, and so that needs to be done pretty quickly in order for it to go, because it has to be defended by the Supreme Court, and so that has to go forward.
Hey, John, you just said that there were previous elections that you could name where that actually played a role. Can you actually just voice that really quick? Like, which elections do you think were particularly infiltrated?
Well, the last one that occurred, arguably, according to evidence, is we had
Obama, body odor. That's what we call him.
No, yeah, even more recently, and yes, all of those, those votes, Obama's elections were ridiculous. They were ridiculous. The way that Romney, when Romney ran against Obama, and then they announced that Obama won, like right after the voting opened, like the voting just started, and all of the media all over the country announced, "Oh no, he's been reelected. It's over. It's over. Stay home. Stay home. It's over." That's pure fraud. That's pure fraud. But we recently had a Senate race here in Arizona, where there was a very unlikely candidate on the Democrat side named Sinema. She's a social justice warrior who has her hair is green and purple all the time, and she during her election, it was a special election, so it was off year, and she had 50,000 votes just disappeared towards the end of that election, and they just disappeared, and then some of those votes reappeared, and they were, of course, Democratic votes, and Kristen Sinema won the Senate seat, and it was absolutely, I mean, it was a clear fraud situation, because they were all the absentee mail-in votings that were taken, that disappeared, and then some of them reappeared, and it was a clear case of fraud, basically. But what happened was the person who was running against her, what's the name of the senator who's the pilot, the lady, yeah, from here.
I forget her name too.
Yeah, me too. I'm horrible
I was
with
trying to
names.
think too.
Anyway,
sorry, John.
Anyway, what happened was that the Republicans, who want to uphold our electoral system as well, what they did was they cut a deal with her.
Oh, it was McSally.
McSally, yes, with McSally, and they told her, well, we'll appoint you if you don't complain about this election, don't complain about the fraud, just let it be, let it go, don't sue, and just let Kirsten Sinema be the senator, and we'll appoint you as temporary senator in place of this other senator who left. And so that's how the governor just put a stop to it, and so that to preserve the electoral system, because this is corruption on both sides. It's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. So they're kind of working together to uphold this system, even with all the fraud that goes on in it all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's really a very important thing to point out, especially, when the Obamagate, when Trump tweeted Obamagate, broke Twitter. I think last time I checked, it was like 3.5 million tweets before Twitter stopped it. But a lot of people were throwing out the race card in this, like, oh, well, Trump's just being racist and everything else. And a really important factor in this is that this isn't about race. This isn't about left or right. This isn't about Democratic or Republican or anything else. This is the cabal deep state that has been doing this for so long, and they're controlling. They've just had their hands in both sides of this, right? So it's like, to them, oh, if this gets a bad name, we'll just change it to this, or I'm Democrat now, or I'll be a Republican later, or whatever it needs to be. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that this this isn't about race. And I know like most of the Aeons and the, Trump supporters out there, they understand this is not about race, but this is the card that the other side is really throwing at us right now.
Is that's what that's about? The Twitter handle I see raising a Trump racist is about because he said Obamagate. That's funny. That is funny because
Yeah, they're just using anything that they can again. I mean, the race card, calling him a Nazi, the conspiracy theory, like these are all the same terms just to try to discredit someone. I mean, I think it's great that he's being this active now,
yeah, they're using all their final things to
Dude, Ben, you started typing in Obama and look at there, the second one down, it says Obama gay, #Obama gay. Look at that. That's hilarious.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, hey, no one's saying that. It's just, those are the hashtags that come up, right?
So was Twitter successful in eliminating Obamagate? Because I know that Jack Dorsey was trying to erase that so that people wouldn't keep trending that.
Well, check this out. I just started typing in Michael, and Michael Obama comes up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now we know what everyone's searching for that they haven't erased yet.
Obama, yeah, that's hilarious.
Speaking of that, then let me tell you guys one of the reasons for Obamagate, why Trump has loaded this Moab bomb and dropped it on everybody. Okay. One of the reasons for Obamagate is because of the cabal's plan that I had shared with you guys and with your audience a while back when I was last on your show, which is that the cabal has very obviously, they have a plan to not run any of the candidates for president of the United States that are presently in the field, okay? Joe Biden is just a placeholder. They have no intention of using Joe Biden or any of the other candidates that are currently out there, including Hillary. They were not going to use any of them, okay? That was the cabal's plan. The cabal's plan, which is, somewhere in a room at the Rothschilds' estate on a drawing board in one of the anterooms, okay? It's like this. It shows Michelle Obama being the candidate at the what do you call it, convention, at the Democratic convention, being drafted at the Democratic convention to be the candidate, okay? This has nothing to do with Biden. Biden will be nowhere to be found at this point, okay? And so the plan was this. It was planned to draft Michelle Obama to run as president, and she would have, as her vice president, would be Obama himself. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Whether that's legal or not, I don't know. And it doesn't really matter. They do illegal things all the time. So they don't really care about that. But her slogan was going to be this. It was going to be, I'm bringing Barack back. Because part of the theory was she's not bringing him back as vice president. He's going to be co-president with her. Okay. And it would be, and even though he would have the title vice president, whatever, but she was going to bring him back as co-president. So the slogan would be, I'm bringing Barack back, which if you think about it, makes perfect sense because he's the last person in the Democratic Party with any popularity at all, in my opinion.
So true. I mean, and this is why a lot of the Democratic Party is just so divided compared to the Republican. Even if people don't necessarily support Trump, they support the cause of what is truly going on. Where in the Democratic Party, everybody is divided right now.
Right, exactly. But the one thing that they would be unified on is bringing Obama back, basically as president of the United States.
Yeah, that's just illegal. I mean, but how they're doing it is exactly.
I think it is technically.
Yeah, technically it is, but how they're doing it is like her slogan being "Bringing Barack back." would like, I can see how they could make that in, well, if you liked his principles as he was president, I'm going to bring those back through me, and he can be whispering in my ear all day, right? Like that's how they would play that.
Right.
But it's BS no matter how
and
you
part of
look
it
at
was going to be her, kind of in a cute way, kind of saying to people, I really don't have any interest.
Okay. All right. Wait. You just said in a cute way. No, John. I'm just going to
Okay.
stop you right there. Not
know
in
what
a
I
cute
mean.
way. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
Guys, I have to read this comment. Christy Avadardo, she said Michael Obafemet.
I saw Obamination too. That's pretty good.
And so she was I don't mean literally in a cute way, but in a cute kind of like, I'm making an admission here. She was going to say, she was going to be saying, I really don't have any interest in being president, but I have to bring Barack back somehow into the presidency. And this is the way I can do it. So that would also feed into the popularity of the ticket, of the platform. And then you were going to see the biggest global media, Hollywood, push for this ticket, unlike anything you've ever seen in our lifetime. We will never have seen a media campaign like this as to the one that would be bringing Barack back to the presidency. It would be unparalleled in our lives. Think of like the Rodney King beating, how much that was put on 24/7 when Rodney King was beaten in LA during the riots. Okay, it would be like that, but like on a global scale for a political campaign. It would be unbelievable. You would have, so apparently what occurred here is that Trump has decided that he was not going to let that circus go forward. That's what happened here. He has decided that he cannot afford to have that, because truthfully, it was going to be pretty formidable. It was, even against Trump, because you're talking about utilization of enormous enthusiasm and energy on a global scale for that ticket. It would be unlike anything we've ever seen in our lifetime. That would be what we were facing. Now, Obamagate now is Trump deciding that he's not going to let that go forward. He's not going to allow that to happen. So he is basically letting everybody know that that Obama is going down before that campaign that I've been telling people about for, I think, over almost a year now. I've been telling people this is going to happen. And he is putting a stop to it because FISA-gate, which was all kinds of enormous violations of the law by a lot of government officials, has just been converted over to Obamagate, because all they did was they got enough people to sing songs. They got enough of the birdies to sing songs, and at the FISA-gate level, and they're all singing the same song, apparently, to save their skins. The song is, "He Made Me Do It." He made me do it. And they've got enough of that to convert FISA-gate over into Obamagate. Now it's squarely in his lap, and he is in a panic.
Yeah, Ben, didn't we hear that one of our sources said that there were 500 counts of treason against Obama already? Do you remember that?
It was 400 actually, is what they said.
Yeah, 400, 500, same difference.
But yeah, actually, and this was somebody that is somebody that does liquidity for banks. So there's not that very many people that do this in the world, and he dropped a lot of information on us. But that was one of the things that he said, and that a lot of countries, actually, not just the U.S., would like to see Obama arrested. The ones that have, there's a lot of them that are tied with an Obama, but the ones that are like supporting Trump. Now, this guy also had stuff on everybody, which is why he was alive. He had stuff on the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, but that was one of the things he said. And actually, I was going to ask you how you feel, like why you thought everybody, I guess you could say the alliance decided now to go forward with the whole Obamagate. And, like you mentioned, the FISA report, or all the FISA stuff and everything else. And then the other day, the House actually dropped the entire transcripts of the investigation of the Mueller report. And basically everybody's there. When you go through the documents, they're all saying, yeah, there's not really that much there with the Russia collusion. So it's like, okay, then what the heck was the Mueller report doing all this
Wasting time, Ben. It was wasting a lot of time and preparing everyone for whatever is going on right now. You could call it CCP virus gate if you want, since we're using the word gate so much in this episode.
That's interesting about your financial source telling you that about the 100 counts of treason against Obama, based on the financial world. It sounds like, is that
well,
what
it was everything. This dude just had connections to every single thing. He was in top level committee of 300 stuff and all these different things. And he just has massive connections. And this is stuff that is, I mean, one of the things he went in depth with was the it was either 60 million or 60 billion. I'm not very good at numbers there, but that came from taxpayers' dollars that went to the government of Turkey. And the other aspect was the Iran stuff, the money the billions of dollars that, Iran, or that Obama was giving Iran. And then the funding of ISIS, the creation of ISIS, like all these different things.
Yeah, because I have a similar thing based on my military sources that basically say the same thing. You could have, but this is just based on military, that you could have, and I like to call him renegade. I don't like to call him by his name. That based just on the whole military atmosphere of everything that he did, you could have over 100 counts of treason against him if you could reveal what the military was unable to reveal at that time. Even the generals couldn't reveal it, and the soldiers in the field couldn't reveal it. Every time that he, for instance, ordered a bombing run on our allies and our ally resources instead of on the enemy, when he would pretend that he was ordering targets in ISIS targets to be hit, but instead he would order them to hit our allied resources instead. Or when he would order American soldiers to abandon equipment to ISIS, and just let them have the equipment. Basically, all it was missing was just gift bows, tied up red little bows on top of the equipment. And you're talking about maybe billions of dollars worth of equipment that every time that he would order them to just leave. And the commanders in the field would be like, well, sir, we have to destroy, to the executive, they would say, we have to destroy this equipment before we leave it here. So that the enemy, nope, leave it there in pristine condition, cover it with tarps and just leave it there. And don't worry about it. You're a soldier, you follow orders. And they had to follow orders. And there were so many other instances like that, where, he ordered generals to do illegal things to help the enemy, supposed enemy. They weren't his enemy, but they were the enemy of the United States. And a lot of those generals, they refused. So what happened? They were immediately fired and replaced with cronies of the renegade cronies who were pretending to be military officers who took over the spot of those generals. And that happened so many times that you could easily have over 100 acts of treason if we could somehow reveal those acts, which are, classified in a certain way. And so it'd be hard to reveal them. But if they could be somehow, I'm sure the Attorney General could do it. You'd have well over 100 acts of treason, counts of treason against renegade for that whole period, for sure.
Yeah, I like how you're saying renegade. I think that we would just kind of stay with that so not to trigger anything. But if I remember correctly, and this is a while ago, he told us this, I thought that there was something related to Spain, like a lot of the cases the documents that were sealed were in Spain against Obama, but I could be off on that. But that's, for whatever reason, that's what I remember, but I could be wrong.
Oh, there were so many things against him that were sealed right here in the United States by State Department officials in the interests of national security. And if anyone looked at his files, they were immediately charged with federal crimes and put in prison. This renegade put so many people, including reporters, in prison. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I really wish that at some point Trump would bring together all the people who were victims of this administration, the same way that Comey and Yates at Department of Justice were like a whirlwind of corruption, destroying anybody who was helping Flynn, who was helping General Flynn, who was working with General Flynn. People think that General Flynn was the only one targeted and destroyed by this whirlwind of corruption that was going on at Department of Justice, and it's not true. There were at least, I would say, at least a dozen other officials some of whom were FBI officials, CIA, State Department, because Flynn worked throughout all those departments, and he worked with Department of Defense. Anybody who was considered an ally of General Flynn was targeted for destruction and removal, and they did it. They did it. These guys were an incredible. Talk about 100 counts of treason possible. Yeah, it would be against these guys too. Very possible, based on all the acts that they did against so many people.
Hey, John. So one of our audience members just asked a question. I'd like to hear your feedback on as well. Somebody asked whether or not Michelle Obama was eligible to run for the president, and from what I've heard is she's not. She lived lived outside of the country for a period of time, not keeping her illegible. But my understanding is who was more illegible to run for president than B.O. himself, because he actually wasn't even born here. I mean, there's all kinds of things revolved around that are actually based in fact, not conspiracy theory that has gone on, and he was still able to run and become president. I mean, it was actually appalling all of that went down when no one was able to look into that. I mean, did you have any solid information on this?
Well, no, I do not. But there's a theory in the law that says facts admitted but not relevant. Facts admitted but not that even if you take the allegations made by the person who asked the question, let's say she's correct and Michelle Obama is completely ineligible to run for president. Let's say she's absolutely correct, and so that's a fact. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because Obama, the globalists, were able to bring a person who was a foreign-born entity, who had all kinds of records as a student visa at Harvard University and Columbia University, who was well known to be a foreign asset of the CIA and the Saudi kingdom. He was very well known to be an asset of those guys, and he was known to be a student visa from Kenya, and yet he still was able to run for president. So those facts about Michelle Obama being ineligible, they really mean nothing, because once we've crossed that Rubicon of having a renegade actually run for president of a nation that he actually hated with a passion. Once we had crossed that Rubicon, all the other ineligibilities they just don't matter anymore. They don't at all. That's why our votes count more than they ever did before, because of the position that we're in, where the rule of law doesn't really mean anything when it comes to elections anymore.
You know, there's something I want to share on my screen. There's a tweet that I put out that actually I was pretty amazed by how big it got actually. But I saw this photo and I just really was just like, you know, for everybody who's calling out the race card and everything, like this photo is just so powerful. And I just wrote, you know, this is a photo that no mainstream will ever show.
Never. And,
you know, the left are showing out, throwing this race card. And the point is that we're trying to make like treason has no race. It's not just Obama involved in treason. It's same thing with you go back to the Clintons. I mean, oh my gosh, like they're all hand in hand. It's like you go Clinton, Bush, Obama. I mean, it's kind of all the same in a lot of ways.
Yo,
I think,
Ben.
yeah,
Man, you just blew my mind. That should be a hashtag. Treason has no race. Like, I don't know if
That's good. Yeah.
I
That's
don't know if
excellent.
that's trending right now, but if it's not, you and I better go ahead and just start
Make
that
it.
because that was
Make it.
gold.
Make it
Yeah.
so number one.
Yeah. I mean, it just really hit me really hard the other day. I was just like, this is it. Like, treason has no race. So we'll definitely use that as a hashtag going forward.
Dude, that photo is one of the most incredible photos I've seen. Look at that woman behind the guy to Trump's left, and how the window right above her head almost looks like a
it
a
does.
halo or something. Like, that's totally amazing.
Angelic. What a powerful picture.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And they're praying.
yeah.
You can tell they're all praying together, and it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's so incredibly powerful. And people, some of the people were commenting like, well, it's like Trump's just sitting there. And it's like, no,
Dude, they're praying.
They're
like,
praying.
Get a clue. What is
Yeah.
wrong with you people? Seriously.
And, you know, the other aspect is my sister-in-law is Black. So she's not really a Trump supporter, but you know, it's like this, again, I'm just trying to let everyone know this has absolutely nothing to do with race. I was very hopeful on Obama when he first came in, because the promises that he made, which he broke within the first month of office, but you know, and you look at, you know, I feel really bad for Ben Carson, you know, somebody who, another Black person who is supporting Trump, and he gets zero, no one ever talks about him at all. It's like he's invisible in the media and everything else. And it's like you talk about Obama, but then you mention Ben Carson to the left, and you're like, well, hey, if you're saying this, then you must be racist against Ben Carson and Black people because you don't like Ben Carson. And it's and seeing the hypocrisy of the things that they're talking about, I don't know, it just really blows my mind.
Hey, they're requesting you to take the chat off the screen, Ben. There you go.
Yeah, guys, the tweet from Donald Trump was, it appears to be authentic, and it is the one where he says, just came in this morning, and it says, when?
It looks March 12th. I don't know.
March 12th. Okay. So it came in March. It's from a while ago, it looks like, but it says it was retweeted today, apparently. And it says, when I was 18, people called me Donald Trump. When he was 18, Barack Obama was Barry Soweto. And then he says, weird. It says weird.
Wow.
And then he has those two iconic photos that one of them shows him at 18. And that was,
No, it doesn't.
okay, but people are retweeting it with that.
Oh, so he was 20 and Barack was 18, apparently. That's what I heard.
Yes. And it's the photo that shows him in his military, because he was at military school.
I'll pull it up real quick as you guys are talking.
Yeah. And then it shows Barry Soweto. It shows Renegade trying to look like a pimp when he was.
I think it's Soetoro, Soetoro. Soetoro?
Right. Oh, no, Soweto. He wrote Soweto, which is not Soetoro. That's weird.
I think maybe he might have done that because he was trying to get around algorithms, because people on Twitter do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's that photo. I actually tweeted it out.
Oh, guys, he misspelled Soetoro as Soweto, which happens to be a town in Kenya, Africa.
Oh, man.
No way. Oh, so you're talking about, okay, I missed the tweet. Okay, this is what I thought you were talking about, but I realized that
because people are putting those pictures with the tweet.
And it is B for Barry. Interesting. Wow, very interesting.
Which is really, really something. That's another signal that he is showing that he is going to take down this this whole fantasy of them. And my assistant just sent it to you, Ben. latest tweet there, just so you could see it.
John's assistant.
And so you've got that. But like I said, this was, and I will always contend this. This is a signal to the deep state, to the cabal, that that Trump is not going to allow their little Obama presidential ticket to go forward against him. And that's probably a good decision, because it would have been horrendous. It would have been difficult even for him to overcome that illegal, basically illegal ticket, presidential ticket to fight against. So he's decided to cut this off, and he is going to allow Obamagate to go forward and take down this whole fiasco.
Interesting. Yeah, here's that tweet. I'm showing it now on my screen. And so what's interesting is that so the argument was that there was a child born in Hawaii on Obama's birthday. I can't remember what day it is now, in the same town that he was supposedly born, named Barack Obama. And people are having a newspaper clipping of this. But yeah, I mean, this would show that if Barry is his real name, then they probably developed this narrative a while ago and then found, something to, okay, yeah, you can, here's a child born on the same year as you. So we'll just use this as your name now. And here we'll give you fake documents that you're now you were born in Hawaii. So is that probably what happened, you think, John?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And it also looks like he's trying to give out, that Trump is trying to give out some kind of signal about about Renegade by using that word Soweto instead of Sortoro, which is the common name that we all knew that Renegade uses. And like I said, because Soweto is a town in Kenya, Africa.
Yeah, that blew my mind when you said that was a town there. I mean, yeah, this is real. This is getting very real now.
Yeah, and he's showing that he is going to ultimately reveal all the realities behind who Renegade really is and what he's really done. And he's even going to reveal all that stuff about the fact that Renegade was an asset for the CIA for many years. And he's going to get those records. He's going to reveal all of it, and was a source for Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia Security Service as well. And what's behind all that? Because the Saudi Arabian government has completely flipped. They had the prince was in charge over there, who was the Clinton guy, the guy who worked with the Clinton Foundation for many years. And that part of that prince was deposed. He was overthrown. And now there's a Saudi Arabian prince that's in charge, is a Trump guy. So Saudi Arabia is going to release all those records about Obama, about Renegade. And they're going to give that to Donald Trump. And that's going to be extraordinary when that gets released, and showing exactly what was going on with Barry Soetoro during all that early history. And that's
Hey,
coming.
Ben, we're getting messages in now that there is a new Q drop that just dropped right now as we were on our show.
Really?
Not sure if you saw that.
I haven't seen it yet. Let me look at it. Actually, I was going to share something else.
Are you saying Q's watching our show right now?
Hey, I hope
That's what it seems like.
He'd be a great person to watch.
Or people. Yeah.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I know what you meant. But actually, what I wanted to show
Military.
First, then I'll look for the Q drop. But so this is a book that was published, Comrade Obama Unmasked, Marxist role in the Marxist mole in the White House. This was a book. I haven't read it, the whole thing. I started looking at it a while ago, and basically this gets into how, I'm just going to throw it out there, how Renegade was a radical Islam and part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And this book breaks it all down and provides evidence of why he believes what he's writing in this book. So if it's a pretty interesting book, if you guys haven't heard of it, I would check it out. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read the whole thing, but one of my best friends, he read it and he was like telling me all about it. He actually owns it, and that's how I knew about it. So,
Wow. No,
Very cool.
but let's check out what the Q drop is real quick, John. But actually, I wanted you to, we could kind of shift gears from here because I really wanted to go into Flynn and your understanding exactly what is happening right now and why the cabal seems to be freaking out now that Flynn has seemed to rejoin President Trump's team here.
well, they're flipping out not just because of Flynn, but also a lot of the people who were also removed with Flynn are being brought back as well. And also the office of the NIDS, the National Intelligence Director, has now been taken over by Trump, who has put in a temporary guy in that spot, the National Intelligence Director, which people kind of think is a post that is over the CIA, the FBI, and all the intelligence agencies, which we have like 32 of intelligence agencies in the United States. It's an extraordinary number. But that position is not to be in charge of all the intelligence agencies. It's to be able to see and penetrate into everything they have done.
Wow.
Now,
Hey, so the new Q drop is
Yeah.
actually specifically about what we were talking about in the first half of our
I'm like
show.
looking at it now and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we were talking
what's it
about.
say?
It's okay. So it says, there's a Twitter. First of all, I'm not looking at these links to you guys. I'm just going to read what Q wrote first.
I have it on my screen.
Okay, yeah, pull that up actually while
Yeah.
I'm reading this. So it says people used as pawns in their attempt to seek a taxpayer-funded bailout for mismanaged funds. Okay, and then there's another link, and then it goes down and it says people used as pawns in their attempt to provide cover for voter by mail? Question mark. Is this about the virus or the election? Is this about the virus or a state bailout? Removal of civil liberties? Removal of constitutional rights? Welcome to the D party. Dormant people accept what they are told. DOJ intervention coming? Q.
Q is watching us.
I see.
Feels like that, man.
Guys, Q is watching us.
So this is the tweet that Q linked to. Los Angeles County stay-at-home orders extended for the next 3 months.
Whoa.
That is insane.
Wow.
That is,
Dude,
Oh
LA is
my gosh.
a nightmare.
that is so illegal on so many levels.
California's massive debt should caution against big spending. What are they trying to do? Tell people not to spend money in California?
Well, you guys, I mean, what they have that governor in charge over there, Gavin Newsom, who, I mean, you guys all saw this. Like he changed his profile photo. John, you saw that, right? The profile photo and the FBI pedophile symbol that he had photoshopped into that.
Yeah. They don't work for you.
Right.
So, sorry, guys, I have to read this. While Governor Newsom and Democratic leaders in the legislature, yeah, sorry, surely want to push a progressive policy agenda. The state's huge debts and obligations can't be overlooked. However inconvenient their presence might be. Broken down, the amount owed on bonds and loans and other long-term liabilities by state and local governments totaled $482 billion as of June 30th, 2017.
They're just pushing for a bailout.
That is insane.
That's all they're doing.
This is the politics are going to be played through November, you guys. This is the deep state's final throws here. 4 more years of Trump means their total demise, in my understanding. A continuation of that demise. So, I mean, I don't see us. This is going to be a very rocky road to November, I think, in America. There's going to be a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of different factors at play right now. I mean, all this data coming in with the different, I mean, even food, it seems to be affected with everything going on with these politics and with everything else. And it's not just politics. There's a lot going on that's even deeper than the things I think humans are aware of. So it's going to be a rocky road in November. That's what it looks like.
We're entering into the phase of this conflict that is going to be like a quiet civil war, where the Democratic governors now are going to, have all been, let's say, visited by China. They have all been talked to by China. And that's a fact. The Attorney General actually said he knows about this. And the State Department, Pompeo, said he knows that the Democratic governors have met with Chinese officials and that they have talked about many things. And so now we're in the phase where these Democratic governors are going to be actively defying the federal government and locking down and promoting fear and trying to get this pandemic to be more intense with panic and fear so that they can extend it all the way to the election day. That's what the plan is, so that they can carry out those two false flags that I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of this broadcast. They're going for broke. They're going for broke because they've got to accomplish those two tasks: to do a false flag election where they
bogus banner
election, and the same thing with universal vaccination, which is the other great goal of the globalists that they want to accomplish and during using this pandemic.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy stuff.
It's super crazy stuff. And
it's
very
weird
intense.
how much that drop just corresponded with everything we've been talking about, even with Flynn. I mean, I'm not convinced it's, I mean, yeah, that's not a coincidence. I agree.
Hey, listen, and guys, if Q is watching us right now, I feel obligated to just give a little primer to your audience. I know you guys are big on history and understanding stuff. So I just want to give a real quick primer on treason, something that you'll never see in mainstream media for people to understand based on law and history. Treason is basically like the ancient law of self-defense for nations. If you exist as a nation, you have to have the right to defend that existence. It's like the Second Amendment for nations. Individuals have the Second Amendment rights to defend their lives, and so that they can keep on living. That's the recognition of the Second Amendment, which is a natural right given by God. If you have the right to be alive, then you have the right to defend that life. That's what the Second Amendment is for citizens, okay? It's just a recognition of that right, okay? Well, treason is the Second Amendment for nations. It has always existed as long as nations have existed. Because if you as a nation don't have those treason statutes, then you have no way to defend your existence. So treason says anyone who is working, who is especially who's a citizen of your nation, who is working to overthrow your nation in some sense by force and violence or by other means, then that person can be charged with the ultimate penalty of death. Why? Because nations have the right to defend their own existence. If they don't, then they can't exist. They can't exist as nations. And a lot of nations that didn't have these treason statutes to defend themselves, they actually did go out of existence, and they actually don't exist anymore because you got to have that. So
you mean like Europe?
Exactly. Like Europe.
No, really, it's true. It's like they've taken everything out of all of their rights to be able to defend themselves against any. They're the way the deep state wants the U.S. to be 20 years ahead, almost. It seems. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And that connects to FISA. FISA is a law that was made up. I think it was made up during the time of my favorite president, formerly my favorite president, Ronald Reagan, and it just says Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which is supposed to be used, which is only supposed to be used because it's national security. It's supposed to only be used against foreign terrorists or agents of a foreign power, okay? Both of which are theoretically not US citizens, okay? The whole point of the FISA system was to protect the rights of American citizens and to defend their security, okay? I would argue that FISA shouldn't just be done away with. It shouldn't even exist anymore because it has failed. It has failed to defend the rights of American citizens. And the FIS court, the same thing, the FISA Intelligence Surveillance Court, it has failed to protect American citizens, especially one American citizen in particular, which is Donald Trump.
Right.
That connects directly to treason because treason is all about the nation's security, and FISA is supposed to be all about defending American citizens. And that's why they have a natural connection.
I'm so glad you explained it that way.
Yeah, that treason
that's
definition
phenomenal.
was awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I'm sure everyone really loved that. I see a Q made another post as we were talking.
Uh-oh.
Right. Did you want to read that, Ben?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll pull it up on my screen.
It says John DeSouza is the most handsome man on the planet.
Awesome.
And his wife is really cool too. That's what it says.
Thank God. Finally.
All right, yeah, Ben, go ahead. You want me to read it or you got it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it says it has a link to a Fox News article, coronavirus relief bill to reach 3 trillion, it says. And then it says, of the more than 3 trillion package, about 1 trillion would go to state, local, and tribal governments, according to 3 sources briefed on the proposal. Quote, now she wants to write a 3 trillion bill with no one able to see, no accountability, and no input, McCarthy told Fox News on Monday. Quote, I mean, this is not how democracy works. This is a real concern to all of us. This won't ever become law, but it'll be the wish list of the liberals to try to change election law, fund Planned Parenthood, and make sure sanctuary cities get the chunk of the money, unquote. Coordinated or coincidence, California, CA, 3-month extension. The truth is in front of you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's some deep stuff.
Here's that article that Q referenced.
They're going for broke. They're going for broke, planning the FFs that I referred to. That they're putting everything into this. And
then any quotes from that article that you want to read out loud for the viewers here?
I mean, Q highlighted the most important part of that.
Okay.
You know, another round of $1,200 stimulus payments would go out to Americans. But man, that's crazy. That is totally crazy. Yeah. I mean, Q definitely highlighted the most important, the essence of that article, of this article.
Boom.
Wow. What do you think, John? What's your, I mean, we kind of are already, it's kind of self-explanatory, but what's your impression of this?
They're trying to make us do what Ayn Rand said 100 years ago. They're trying to get us to finance our own destroyers, which is what happens when they're trying to get these bailouts for these democratic states that have been utterly destroyed by Democrats for 20, 30 years. And they're trying to get us, there's no amount of money that could ever be enough for that particular task. And yet they're trying to take advantage of Trump's chess moves to try to get those bailouts. And it is absolutely important that we don't give any money to those states that have destroyed their own people for decades based on their actions, because that would be exactly promoting the agenda of the globalists, because those states are owned by the globalists and they use their agendas in those states all the time to promote their agendas. So we would be financing the exact wrong things at this point if we were to give them any money at all.
Wow. Well, and you heard about what happened with Elon Musk, right? Moving out of California. And actually I had the tweet on my computer. Do I still have it? Let me show this real quick. This is I just can't get over this. This was a senator, Leon, what's her name?
Lorena.
Yeah,
Oh
Gonzalez. So this is what she wrote.
He wrote that?
Yes.
Oh
It's like, you know, and actually people are really, you know, in their Twitter feed, people are really upset. And, you know, this is showing why people are walking away from the Democratic Party instead of like them saying, hey,
look at the contradiction here. She has a photo of her with her kids or something.
Holding a kid.
Yeah, and then she's saying F Elon, and she's a public figure. Like, what is
dude,
actually going
she's a
on?
senator, man.
Right.
These people are
Holy cow.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She's a assembly woman. She's not a senator, but
still though. Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, it would be worse. It would be worse if she was a senator, but as anyone who's an official like that, losing their cool like that on Twitter, I mean, that's just crazy.
It's
they should.
Oh, you guys
send IFAs to go check on these kids' welfare.
We have about 20 minutes left here, so if we're going to end around 4:30ish, so I want to make sure that John goes through all of the lightning that he's got on his documents there. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, and also how much time you have, John? Because we could probably go a little longer if
oh, good. Yeah, no, I'm up for whatever, man.
Okay.
For whatever. I'm good because we gotta get this stuff out to people and
sure
and tell them as much as possible. You know, it's imperative. We've got to give people some info that they're just not going to get anywhere else. And especially as we go into this phase of Obamagate, you know, Twitter, Jack Dorsey tried to stop Obamagate from trending and from going out as a news item among people, but it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop because people are wise to this system of social media censorship, and they understand, and I believe they understand what Obamagate really represents. It doesn't just represent stopping the Obama ticket, presidential ticket that was supposed to be coming up. It represents something that Obama just talked about. Obama just came on, and he is in a big panic, and he gave a quote. He gave a quote about Flint. He gave supposedly about Flint, but it wasn't. It was about himself, like everything else is with him as well. He said, "We're reaching a point in our democracy where the rule of law is being overturned as we see this guy walk away from a charge of perjury. This is terrible. This is terrible." That's what Obama's quote was. He just said that. Well, that's bewildering because Hillary used to say a similar quote. She used to say, "Oh, the rule of law should apply to everybody. The rule of law is being overturned in this country." Which was just as bizarre when she used to say it as him saying it, because they are two individuals to whom no laws have applied, who have broken so many laws, and they've suffered no consequences at all. So it's really bizarre, and people get really confused when they hear them talk like that. Well, Obama was putting out a code. He was putting out a code, and he was not talking. He was talking to his other minions. And so what I want to tell people is that what he was saying was there's a danger. We are overturning. First of all, Flynn was not charged with perjury. So there is no perjury. Okay. So that was so why was he saying perjury? What he was doing was putting out a lame message to all of his minions that they have all been they've all been committing perjury, and that we are all in danger of facing consequences. We're actually going to get the rule of law applied to us, and we are facing consequences for perjury. Well, they've all committed a lot worse things than perjury. So it was kind of a lame message. But here's the other message that he was saying. They are in danger of something being overturned that is called the law of Deodand. The law of Deodand.
What is it again?
It's called the law of Deodand. And it is spelled D like David, E like Echo, O, D like David, A like Alpha, N like Nancy, D like David. Okay. And it's an ancient law concerning the nobles. Okay. It's a law that says, it comes from the Middle Ages. It's from the time of the Middle Ages when we had a feudal society. And it basically says that the nobles cannot be charged with any of their crimes, rape, robbery, murder. They cannot be charged with their crimes. So instead, in the interest of equity and justice, what we do is we take a piece of property from them, whether it's a sword, a shield, something of their property, and we take that item and we confiscate it from them, and we bury it or destroy it as a way of punishing them for their murder. So it's actually where supposedly in the law, we got the law of forfeiture. We got the law of forfeiture from the law of Deodand, forfeiture, criminal forfeiture, where you go after the criminal and you get their property that was related to the criminal acts that they did, okay? So supposedly on the surface, the law of criminal forfeiture comes from the law of Deodand. Well, the law of Deodand was a lot more malevolent than what it seemed like. Because if you're a real historian, you go and you look at letters, you go and you look at personal correspondence, and you find out what the law of Deodand really was about. The law of Deodand was basically an admission that all the regular laws don't apply to the nobles, to the elites. They don't apply. So when the elites would go on their property and they would decide to rape, rob, murder one of their peasants, the law would not be applied against them. They couldn't be, because they were of noble blood. So the law of Deodand was put forward by the king as a way to punish the nobles in the interest of, by taking away the sword that they used to cut the peasant in half, okay? And that would be confiscated. And so now, it's a valuable item. It's a valuable item. So, or their horse or something that belonged to them. It has value. So that was considered, okay, now they've been punished. They've been punished. And so now we have, in the interest of justice and equity, justice has been carried out. Well, of course, that wasn't justice for the peasant who was murdered or raped or robbed. It didn't matter to them. But that was the system that we operated under in Western civilization for a very long time. Well, Obama and Hillary, they recognize that the law of Deodand still applies today. It still applies to where they cannot be touched. They cannot be touched by the laws of common men, all right? So when Obama says we're in danger that the rule of law is going to be overturned, what he really means is that the law of Deodand that protects him, that gives him immunity from his consequences, are about to be overturned. And that's what Trump is telling him too.
Wow.
Dude, that was incredible. I've never heard of that before. So that was very mind-blowing. Someone made a comment, like basically it's like a slap on a hand for the most part of what they got.
Right. But in that milieu, during the Middle Ages, that slap in the hand, everyone thought, whoa, that's an extraordinary calling to account of consequences for the people of noble blood, because they considered it an affront to even have their sword confiscated. To them, that was because they thought they should have no consequences at all. And that's exactly the attitude we have today from Obama, Hillary, Nancy Pelosi, and all of the elites that have ruled over our society for so long with the cabal.
So
I was just going to check to see if Q dropped again. I thought maybe he dropped again. I thought somebody said something. Sorry, Ben, what were you saying?
No, I mean, I was just going to say that kind of goes with this Q post that Q referenced on the constitution.congress.gov. And honestly, I don't quite understand the reference here. And I think you kind of explained it though, John, but it's Article 1, Section 6, Clause 1, privilege from arrest. So, I mean, did you see this, John?
Yeah, it's the law of Diodan for Congress, basically.
That's exactly what I thought after you explained what you just explained. Here, let me pull this up, because that's exactly what I thought when I look, because I was looking for it as you were talking.
Right.
So
and it basically, it gives all the conditions under which senators and congressional representatives, they cannot be charged with anything. They can't be charged with anything, but there are certain conditions where they will be subject to arrest for treason, felony, breach of the peace. And those conditions will apply here, is what Q is saying. They will apply, and the law of Diodan will not save these people. So that's another interesting thing. Q is kind of signaling that members of Congress are going to be subject to arrest, and it's going to be because of their deeds and acts. Maybe not when they're standing in the podium, not when they're standing in the podium, but when they're outside of that podium and they're doing these plans with Bill Gates and everybody else that they're doing and taking this money from their globalist overlords. So yeah, there is going to be.
It is amazing to me and disgusting how much they've focused on, changing, basically changing our laws through litigation and these means, basically to change the United States of America and to protect themselves from their criminal activities. Like, this has been going on for years and years and years and years now, but it's like, it's reading stuff like that, like stuff that Ben just had pulled up, where you're just like, what the heck is going on? And, I've seen, like, we've got this stuff going on with the CCP virus right now. And we also have, just from everything that's going on with that, we can see how the medical field is 100% controlled by these bigger organizations, or even big pharma,
And fake science.
and fake science. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And it's the same exact thing is going on in the legal field, where you have all of these people, they're in the bar, they also have to go and sit through these conferences in order to keep their licenses. And if they do anything at all that the bar deems to be insufficient for keeping their license, they will lose their license. And this is how they can control everything, because who wants to go to school for a few years and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to obtain a license? It's your livelihood, it's your family's livelihood. This is how it is. And then also, like, who understands that language? Law is its own language that you literally will not and do not understand unless you're studying it and focused on it all the time. And this is how they slowly change litigation over time, is they've made it into something the common man can't step to, basically,
Right. And here's a phrase I want people to remember. It's going to be coming up as we get further into this Obamagate conspiracy, which involves a lot more people than just Renegade. And it's this phrase: they don't work for you. They don't work for you. During my entire FBI career, I always worked on a lot of task forces, and I used to remember this government official who would always come in whenever people were trying to get certain government officials to do something. He would tell them, different agencies, like it was an FBI guy with a CIA person, he would say to them, that guy doesn't work for you. He doesn't work for you. He is helping you. It's a task force environment. We're cooperating here, but he really doesn't work for you. So you have to be nice. Well, in this whole thing that we're looking at, it's very easy to tell when they don't work for you. When you see Nancy Pelosi with $100 million in the bank, does anybody think she got that from her congressional salary? Well, then if she didn't, then what does that mean? That means she got that from the people she really works for, okay? And who do we think that is? Well, we think it's the globalists. We think it's George Soros. We think it's, all of the cabal. That's who we think it is. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to tell when they don't work for you, especially when you see government officials doing bizarre things that make no sense, whether in this country or even in other countries, things that are against the interest, their national interest. That's what tips you off that they don't work for you. And people have to be able to call that out because this is the theory I've been talking about for so many years, the globalist coin, being able to tell and spot the globalist coin jingling in the pockets of these government officials. It's very easy. Hollywood does not work for you, does not work for the movie studios or the television stations, because you see them on YouTube calling out all kinds of crazy stuff about protesting against Trump or protesting against anything that Trump has done. What's that got to do with making movies? What's that got to do with acting in a television show? It shows that they don't work for you. They're not working as entertainers. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And again, who are they all working for? They're all working for the same people, for that globalist coin that is jingling in their pockets. That's one of the things. The other thing I wanted to mention was FISA and unmasking the unmaskers. When you have a FISA investigation going on, one of the greatest, I need a cough button. One of the greatest priorities is to hide the identities of American citizens that are captured in that FISA investigation by mistake, well, supposedly by mistake. Okay, you're not supposed to reveal those identities. It's supposed to be sensitive, super sensitive information. Well, all of the Obama officials, they all went in and took out all the American citizens' identities that were captured in phone captures throughout the entire FISA investigation. And so now we have the NIDS, the National Intelligence Director, revealing all the Obama officials who unmasked American citizens' names in those FISA investigations. And that goes directly into Obamagate and into treason charges. That's what we're looking at here. Also, I wanted to also urge people to see the Plandemic movie with Dr. Judy Mikovits, who has had very close up personal experience with Dr. Fauci. It's a great movie. And it gives us a basic education on vaccines as well, on vaccines and the history of vaccines. People have got to see that stuff. It's amazing what Dr. Fauci has actually been up to the last 20 years in his real life before he created this pandemic that we are all suffering through right now.
So as we're talking, there is another Q drop that came in. Let's see, let me share my screen. He posted this photo. Someone's just saying, God bless America. We are being attacked from within.
Exactly.
And
they don't work for you.
And Laura Ingram, he tweeted to her again, or
he posted her tweet in there. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. So she's saying 2 months ago, can't open until we flatten the curve to save our healthcare system. 1 month ago, can't open until we have a vaccine. A few days ago, can't open until we have multiple vaccines. Today, essentially can't open until Biden wins.
Whoa, burn. That was a good tweet.
Yeah,
I'm retweeting that right now.
Very interesting stuff.
That's funny. If the cabal's plans to run the Obamas on the presidential ticket, if that gets cut off by Trump's latest moves with Obamagate, and it looks like it will. It looks like it absolutely will. And I'll never be so happy to be wrong about a prediction that I've given. I'm very happy to be wrong about that, about the Obama ticket running. But if that gets cut off and the cabal is literally left with Biden, who was never intended to be anything more than a temporary placeholder. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, because I don't know what they're going to do. Literally.
You know what's going to happen, John? On his first day of presidency, if he wins, he's going to walk into a McDonald's in South Dakota and he's going to think it's the White House. That's what's going to happen.
I thought you were going to say he's going to walk into the bathroom and start giving a speech.
Hey, you know what, Ben? Apples and oranges here. Same thing, really.
I mean, I don't forget about that. I don't even know what is he going to do if he has to walk into a debate somewhere with Trump.
Dude, he's never going to win. He's never.
Actually, John,
wait, sorry, Biden 2020. Right.
John, what you said though was genius. It's almost like, hey, let's leave Biden alone and let's just go after the people who truly want to win. So that leaves Biden left going up against Trump. Dude,
yeah,
seriously. Oh my God, they would.
He cut off their only option, because there's no option with Hillary to be a 3-time loser. There's no option there, and all of those other candidates were so wildly unfit to even stand on a stage with Trump. I mean, it was just crazy. So now, if Trump cuts off the Obama ticket that they were planning, they literally have nothing. They will have nobody to run for the presidency, because I don't even see Biden lasting another couple of months until the convention. I don't see him even lasting
because of his mental state, like his condition, or okay,
because of his mental deterioration. It's just proceeding so quickly, and it's just getting worse, which I don't think the cabal accounted for that. They thought he would last longer, and so I think even that substance that they all give to their minions to drink, I don't think it's even helping Biden anymore. That I forgot what you call that stuff.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Biden actually looks good physically. Like physically, he actually looks good. So I think the adrenochrome is helping him there. But apparently it doesn't help.
So nasty.
It doesn't help him mentally, though. That's what it seems like. So they're up the creek without a paddle at this point. They might have to go get Tulsi Gabbard or something, or somebody crazy like that to run.
Bringing in Tara Reid, right? That's her name, right? Tara Reid.
Yeah.
Bringing her up, then it's like, this whole thing was just so it really bothered me. I mean, it's like, especially Nancy Pelosi spearheading everything about Brett Kavanaugh and literally saying we need to listen to every single woman who's speaking out. And then Tara Reid comes out and she's like, oh no, you're making that up. It's like, what? I mean, and I think this is why, the left is very divided, because you had a lot of the younger generation all supporting Bernie, people really putting so much into Bernie. And then all of a sudden Bernie just basically gives them the finger and says, I'm promoting Biden now. And so you have all of this younger
greatest revolutionary of all time.
Yeah. Exactly. Like my brother falls into this because he actually he was a Bernie supporter, but he can't stand Biden. And it's just like, they really shot themselves in the foot with all of this.
Yeah, and and it looks like they just sacrificed Me Too completely. The whole Me Too movement. They just decided to just sacrifice it completely in order to try to, I don't know, hold on to Biden a little longer. And that's all they're going to get out of it, because Biden's not going to last that long. But I have other good news in the department of the cabal using up their last few arrows. The other good news that everybody, you may have heard, I don't know, but Trump just forced the deep state to use one of their last assets, which is a group of 2,000 former Justice Department officials that have all signed a letter. They put their signatures on a letter saying that Barr, the Attorney General Barr, must resign for improper intervention in the Flynn case. Okay, the cabal has probably been holding on to this for a last ditch final effort if they were like cornered inside a bunker with nowhere else to go. But they basically just handed Trump the motherlode of enemy deep state associate information. Okay, because for these guys to put their names and probably their home addresses on this letter, it basically just exposed an enormous playlist from the enemy, from the cabal, of people who are going to be associated with all other deep state assets. Because putting this list together had to be a huge effort, and that had to come directly from the globalists. So now Trump has this list, and the allies and the alliance basically have this list of names, signatures, home addresses, and phone numbers that have been in contact with who knows how many globalist assets. It's an enormous treasure trove of intelligence that is going to benefit the allies, the alliance, for a very long time, especially in this run-up to the false flags I talked about.
Hey, I just wanted to say something before I forget. So, Ben, you were saying how the Democratic Party shot themselves in the foot with this. And I just wanted to tack onto that really quick, because of course, they've shot themselves in the foot. They've shot themselves in the foot multiple times. But I think what's going on here is there's only so long this could go before the kind of evil that they've created would start to break down, because evil by nature is just desire and take things by force and all of those things. And what we're seeing right now is a crumbling from the inside, not necessarily because they shot themselves in the foot, but because how they are in general doesn't come from a place of wisdom. Like for instance, you might not like what Trump says on the surface, right? But actually what's behind it is actually something good. So there's a lot more of a solid foundation there. Whereas the foundation in the things that they're doing are completely not there at all. But on the surface, they're really good. Look at how good of an orator Obama was, right? Like he was trained to be a perfect orator. And yet one of the biggest criminals of our time that we'll find out, actually, right? And we just got a comment that I wanted to read here from one of our audience members. It was from a guy named Joshua Sparks, and he says, the dementia or Alzheimer's is being staged simply so Sleepy Joe can step down once winning and be replaced by Hillary. You guys should already know this. Come on, Ben and Rob, do the research. So I just wanted to say, first of all, we're all friends here. Joshua, you don't have to come at us like that, but we've actually talked about this on multiple different live shows that we've had on Fridays about the fact that this whole thing with Joe could be being used so that whoever the vice president is could take control over. We don't know how this is going to play out though, however, so we're kind of looking at all of it. But I think you may be wrong if you think that this dementia or Alzheimer's is staged, because you don't mess up as bad or mince your words as bad as Biden does without actually having a genuine problem. Like it's very difficult.
Be that good an actor.
Yeah, no, Thank you,
just
John.
not possible.
It's not possible for him to be that good of an actor. I think you just nailed it on the head.
Yeah, definitely not. And him constantly using the word intercourse now.
Thank you for bringing that up again, Ben. Yes. It's every
I just
time he
think that
says
was
it,
so funny.
I die. It's like,
It's like,
He's just, and the thing is, he's just too radioactive. No one's going to use him as a presidential candidate to get someone under him as a VP pick and then do the switcheroo and all that. They just can't, because they're going to be sullied with his radioactivity. You're talking about one of the great unindicted co-conspirators of all time, and also unindicted for his own stuff that you see him doing in videos and pictures all the time with young children, young girls, and women. I mean, the guy's just, no one's going to use him as a cover, as a presidential cover for the VP, and then the VP come in and all that. That's just, come on, that's not going to happen. That's crazy. When they could just very easily tell him, okay, Joe, you're done. Get out of here. Go. We've got this other person. And he'll just walk away meekly. You think Bernie was meek walking away? Watch how quickly Biden will walk away.
Dude, he's not gonna walk away. He's gonna walk into a wall, man. I'm sorry, Biden 2020. I forgot.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of something we can say that would be I don't know.
Vote for Big Mike.
Guys, another thing I have to mention real quick
please.
for the people who follow me, they'll want to see about this. It's just extraordinary that there are pictures out there. It does appear there is a very good chance that a lot of these elites are being processed by the alliance through an arrest procedure and through a lot of the an arrest and possibly arrest and release cooperation procedure, and that they are being then either released or not. Because we see one of the weird commonalities that we see is Tom Hanks making a speech against a cinder block gray wall that looks like it's from a prison facility.
Yeah.
And we see his wife Rita again using that similar cinder block gray wall. I've worked with a lot of prisons. I recognize that wall. And again, and Hillary recently took some pictures of herself giving a message somewhere, and she was against that same cinder block gray wall.
No way. Not to mention, John, that when the Hanks were getting off from Australia, they ended up getting into those SUVs that were found to be Navy-owned SUVs. I mean, you remember that, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
well, actually, real quick, John, going off Tom Hanks, because I kind of wanted you to, this is actually what I wanted you to talk about. In his acceptance speech, when he was at the Golden Globes Awards, the last thing he says is, I have checked the gate and the gate is good. And for those people who don't know, when they were shooting a movie back in the day, and they would say, oh, check the gate. And they would say the gate is good, meaning the film, everything's okay with the film. They can close it and take the film out. So they would say that. Now they don't say it anymore because everything's digital, but he was saying that, and he was crying as he was saying this. And Doc Skinner, he contacted me yesterday, and he's like, I was just thinking about this because he does a lot in film. And he's like, I honestly think that he was telling people that it's over. Like you won't be seeing him anymore. Like he knew something was going to happen after that.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. But I wanted to see your take on all of this and what you thought too.
I know that Doc Skinner knows Hollywood very well. And for him to spot that and to see that, yeah, it may have been Tom Hanks saying goodbye, because We know that the cabal requires leaders in the elites, their minion leaders, to participate in all of these high-level crimes like trafficking, like human trafficking, and to participate deeply and to record instances of them participating in all of that. And it's very likely that people like Hanks, people who are in the leadership in certain institutions, are very deeply involved with that sort of thing, and that there's a big chance that he has gone into a cooperation and a processing with the alliance that has been, I think, scooping up a lot of these people.
So this is interesting. I've been trying to work this out. Like, if they're in prison, why are they still able to speak publicly and all of that? And I think what we have to understand is that everything that's going on right now on the surface and the media, all of this is a play that we're watching. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes is the real thing. And we're not privy to a lot of that information. We're all just here on shows like this trying to figure it out. Go ahead, John.
It's for the same reason, Rob, that if you are arrested as a murder suspect, the police will bring you over to a phone after let's say you've already called your attorney. But you ask for a call to your family, and the police, and usually the suspect will be speaking in another language because they think that way the authorities don't know what they're saying. And they will typically say to the person, yeah, okay, you go make your phone call. And they will bring them over to make a phone call. And then they'll have a police officer that speaks that language sit by where they're making the call. And they would just tell them, just listen what they're saying and pick up anything you can. That is why they're allowing the people they're scooping up to give out messages, because they want to see what's the code that's being given out, and what does it mean.
Man, you just blew my mind with that. I hadn't even thought of that. That would be a brilliant reason to do that, especially if they have a bunch of decoders, or, I mean, obviously the NSA knows this stuff, right? And they know what kind of phrases they'll be using and what they're using in place of other words. So, wow.
It's to collect the intel. They got to collect the intel and see what they can do with it.
Wow, that's amazing. So a lot of people are asking who Doc Skinner was. So yeah, Doc Skinner, he puts on Disclosure Con. That was Rob and I, and actually, John, you were there too a couple years ago, and in Arizona. And he does his own Facebook stuff, like Facebook Live. He has his own show on YouTube as well. And yeah, he's just really into this stuff and knows everybody. He lived with Travis Walton for a while, even and he's just got some really cool stories. So that's who Doc Skinner is.
I think we're doing another event with him, aren't we, in October or something?
He wants to put on Disclosure Con in October again, if he can. So hopefully a lot more events can start happening very soon.
I just wanted to bring this up for everyone at home. So if you're at home, please hit like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And we've noticed that YouTube has started to send out surveys to everyone watching our videos to, I think, I don't know, try to kick us off or something. So try to give us a good score if you can. Thanks. That's it. I'm not very attached to it, but there you go.
So John, we have about 10 more minutes. So is there anything you haven't said that you want to get into? I know one of the things that we were going to kind of cover briefly was some of the UFO Pentagon drop stuff, but I don't know if you had more pressing things that you're like, oh, we didn't talk about this, and I really want to explain this.
Well, first of all, I'm being told I have to tell people to please go to my site, johntamabooks.com. Use code F.B.I. for 20% discount on any of my books that actually talk about a lot of the things that are going on right now.
John, how do you spell that? The John Tama Books, you said .com? How do you spell that?
Yeah, John Thomas Books, JOHN, T like Tom, A like Apple, M like Mary, A like Apple, books.com.
Beautiful.
TamaBooks.com. And if you go to that's my website, and you'll see a great little review on that first page of my website of the Tic Tac incidents, which was in 2004 when the U.S. Navy started up this psychological operation with these military drones, top secret military drones, that the Navy Information Warfare Division then started to give out information that these could have been possibly UFOs, and proof that we are not alone. Okay. The reason they did that was because these were little Tic Tacs that were above the ocean, and they were doing top secret experiments with these military drones, which in 2004 were the most advanced drones with no propulsion, no physical propulsion that we could see at all. Okay. In 2004, very advanced. However, it has been exposed that these were definitely not UFOs. It was just a top secret experiment, and it's the Tic Tac incident. People call it by other names as well to cover up what it really was. But it was just advanced military drones that they needed to experiment with somewhere. So they did it in the bosom of the carrier group, the Nimitz. The Nimitz carrier group was there, the largest super carrier in the world, and its battle group was there as well. And they were just overseeing this experiment. And unfortunately, though, it's now that 2004 incident is being used to make it look like these were some kind of UFOs possibly. And they absolutely were not. Absolutely, they were not.
Well, what makes this so interesting is that the Pentagon finally publicly stated on their official website that I forget what it was, DOJ maybe, or not Department of Justice. I forget anyway now, but that they were truly unidentified, that they did not know what these were in these videos. For the past 2 years, the Pentagon, everything has been very quiet. And just recently they announced this. So, but like you said, that doesn't mean that they're aliens. They're not saying that it's like alien technology, right?
Right.
I'm so tired of this conversation. It's like, it's an unidentified flying object. It's not a big deal. Like, why can't we just talk about it?
Well, but see, the media were they were reporting on this nonstop, and people were like, yeah, okay, we see things in the sky all the time. Big deal. But I think it's the fact that the Pentagon has stated, hey, yeah, we don't know what these are now. Officially, this is the first time that, but I think, Rob, the point is that now no media wants to take it because it would distract from all the virus stuff.
That's a good point.
No, the problem with it is that it's these videos, and more of these are going to be released, by the way, and they are being released. More of these Tic Tac videos are being released. And the problem is that there is a giant psyop underway to use these videos to represent that we are not alone in the universe. And the reason is because there are certain groups that are trying to take over ufology, and they're trying to use these videos as proof that they have the inside scoop on UFOs and what they are and where they are. And they're doing that because they're pushing forward this giant psyop that you need to look to them for the truth about UFOs. And they're trying to push forward fear in this topic, in this area, by using the phrase, and it comes from the Navy. It comes from the Navy, the U.S. Navy, Information Warfare Division, okay? Where it says, unknown aerial threats, UAT, threats, okay? They're trying to ginny up fear and panic over this area so that they can lead us towards one of the cabal's great long-term goals, which is fake alien invasion.
Yeah,
Oh
that
man.
makes perfect sense.
It's real
And-
and it's
yeah.
coming.
And I mean, from my understanding, this technology that they're using came from alien technology that they have. But, you know, from also our understanding is that a lot of the alien invasion already happened a long time ago. And that's what the cabal represents.
Right.
You know, so it's like, yeah, but again, we're especially Rob and I are really weary on people in the community talking about how there could be an alien invasion. We're like, what? You know, like a real, like you're talking about, like, you know, Independence Day alien invasion coming in.
Right.
It's like, that's not going to happen.
Well, it's not going to happen in the real, but the cabal does have one of the final arrows in their quiver, is to use this technology that was used on 9/11. Okay, this technology that made certain destruction, real destruction, and made certain things appear real that maybe were not real. And that same technology is going to be used eventually to create this fake alien invasion that we are being pointed towards, that we are being herded towards eventually. And Werner von Braun predicted it, you know, like 60 years ago. He predicted it. He said that that was going to be the final fake conflict that would be created by the cabal, would be in order to unify the entire world behind them, behind their forces, so that everyone would unify and come together behind them, while we were concerned about this great, really fake invasion, which was not going to be real. It would create real destruction, though. And if you want to see a blueprint of exactly how it's going to go down, there's a great show on television cable called Colony.
Oh yeah.
If you've ever seen that, people should check that out, because that lays out the blueprint for exactly how the cabal will do this. And they will lay out, you know, district governors. They will put themselves in as district governors, and they will have the big bad aliens always, like, you know, just out of sight. And everything will be based on, oh yeah, the aliens told us to do this, they told us to do that, and they told us to kill all these guys. And it's not us, it's the aliens that told us this. But you never get to see the aliens. You never get to see them. You never get to actually see a real live alien. You just see their ships kind of like hovering, you know, a few miles away in the distance. And supposedly everything is good or bad that comes from them, the great alien overlords.
That makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Hey,
That's
John, we're pretty much out of time right now. I don't mean to cut this short. I actually have to get going because I have to get back to New York and I have a bunch of stuff to do over the next couple of days. So one, would you be willing to come onto the show again really soon?
Yeah.
And awesome. So we can continue this conversation, I think, really, really soon. This was an awesome episode. And
Yeah,
thanks
everyone
for being with us.
everyone really liked it. The comments that we were getting on this was just phenomenal about, you know, even with Rob and I, our minds were blown with some of the stuff that you were saying.
It always is every time John comes on the show.
Yeah, and I had a lot more stuff, guys. I had some blueprints I wanted to put out, and a lot of stuff on exactly what's going on and where we're going.
Brilliant.
In the near future. So it'll be good to come back quick.
Well, then we'll do it. We'll do it again real soon. Maybe over the next couple of weeks, we'll have you on again,
Awesome.
and we'll go through all of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Yeah, and there's even things that we didn't even really get to either that we wanted to talk about with you as well. So let's do this again in a couple of weeks.
Excellent, guys. Thanks so much. Great being with your audience. You guys are awesome. And I love you guys. Edge of Wonder. I love being out there.
And real quick, and so we have your stuff below in the description John. So for everybody out there, how to find you and your books and everything else. So.
Yes, go to my website, johntama.books.com. And like I said, use code FBI for 20% discount on all of my books, especially The Para Investigators, which actually has, my fans pointed out, some chapters on recognizing crime, which is exactly what we're going through now with fake science and fake government officials who are not really doing their duty because they don't work for you. They work for somebody else.
That's awesome, John.
So
Well,
true.
John, you are a scholar and a gentleman, my friend, and we will have you on soon. So thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
man.
until next time, we'll see you out
On the edge.